Hello. Today we are releasing several new features and improvements to eCairn Conversation. As always, the team behind Conversation is hard at work to add features that empower our users, allowing them to better understand and engage the social media influencers and communities who matter to them. Today's updates add 3 new powerful features to the Conversations tab. The social network filter allows you to interact with any social networking profiles currently used by the influencers in your community. Geolocation allows you to find the location of each member in the community. Lastly, we've added an outreach campaign management interface. This streamlines the process for you and your team while creating, planning, and organizing outreach to any community. Some additional updates include a redesign of the source card to allow more thorough profiling of each influencer. We've also renamed the topic filter in the Conversations tab to the relevance filter to better represent its functionality. This update also adds the ability to import and export labels from different projects. It also adds the ability to show or hide graphs in trend view. Let's start with social network detection. You'll see that from the Community tab, you can filter by networks in the bottom right corner. If I click this, I can open this drop-down menu right here, which shows the current social networks that we have available. Selecting any of the social networks will sort the influencer list and display each social network attributed to every influencer on the right-hand side. Clicking on a badge does one of several actions, depending on the social network. You see, if I click on a LinkedIn badge, it displays a short, abridged version of their LinkedIn page with links to their profile. Clicking on an influencer's Twitter badge takes you directly to their Twitter page. On the other hand, if I hover over it, it will show the 10 most recent tweets from their Twitter page. Lastly, clicking on a user's Facebook badge takes you straight to the influencer's Facebook page in a separate tab. You can only view it if they have their profile available to the public, however. Let's move on to geolocation. Conversation can automatically discover the location of an influencer. It will store it here in the blog card. Just click on the blog card here, and if you look on the bottom right, you'll see that the information, if available, is filled out automatically for you. The advantage is that you can now search for influencers by location here on the right-hand side. Let's try New York. You can search by country, state, city, and by proximity to a location. If I type in New York and I drag this bar underneath it, I can set exactly how far away or how close I want Conversations to search for bloggers within that radius. Finally, let's move on to managing outreach campaigns. You can find our campaign manager underneath project. Just go ahead and click on campaign manage campaigns right here. When you see this window, you can choose to add a new campaign or manage the current campaigns right here. You'll see we currently have three different campaigns with little descriptions underneath them. We can also set the start date of each of them and update the status of any of them. After creating new campaigns, you can choose to add more by simply checking the boxes over here for the influencers you want to add to a campaign, opening the drop-down menu, and selecting the campaign that you've created. Outreach campaigns allows you to distinguish actions made by members of the work group. You can track the progress of other work group members and quickly assess the status of outreach to each and every individual influencer. To check the status of every influencer, we have to look at their blog card. But first, let's filter this list. You can do so by looking at the filters over here on the right side. I'm going to go ahead and filter this list by influencers with any campaign on them. After sorting the list, you can see that the community list has reorganized itself, and every campaign associated with any influencer is listed over here on the right-hand side. We're now looking at only influencers who have campaigns associated with them. You'll notice that certain influencers are in more than one campaign. To check the status of a specific influencer, we have to look in their blog card. Let's check this one out. You can see here the campaigns that they're in, the status of their the status that they are on the campaign, and whoever is managing that campaign here. I can go ahead and add a comment to update others on the current status of this campaign. I can also check the history of these outreach to this specific influencer by clicking the history button on the drop-down menu. Here you'll see where the campaign started and where they currently are at. You'll also be able to see any comments that have been added during this time period. The best part about Campaign Manager is that you can export data about each and every outreach campaign in Conversation. To do so is quite easy. All you have to do is select the blogs that you'd like the information on. Open the drop-down menu and click Export. The data will be included in the spreadsheets. This update adds several new features to the mapping tools in Conversation as well. For example, you now have the ability to launch a URL directly from TouchGraph. To do this, you simply right-click a node, like so, select Launch, and hit Blog URL. It'll open the page in a new tab. We've also added the ability to quickly select clusters on the graph. First, sort using the cluster button at the top of the blog list, here. Then click and drag the cursor over the blogs that you'd like to select, like so. This concludes the presentation of our new features. We hope you find them useful, and we look forward to hearing your feedback about them. Thank you for listening.